expressionist. Well, that means I love life and I am passionate about expressing my love of life in many different ways, and one of which includes painting. So I am an artist, a painter, and currently I am a mum of 2.5 and a wife of 1. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much to Adele for giving me this opportunity to tell and share my story with you today. When she first asked me about a couple of months ago if I would share a video about my story, I just said, yes, sure, having absolutely no idea what I was going to say or do. And I guess that pretty much sums up the story of my life, full of lots of enthusiastic, passionate yeses at the beginning without really knowing what I'm putting myself up for. Perhaps a little backstory to how I got to where I am today, an artist, and where I will go from today, where I will go from tomorrow. So I grew up in a pretty traditional and conventional home and environment in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I went on to study statistics, mathematics and economics at university, and then trained as a chartered accountant in London, specializing in the banking and financial sector. And that was pretty much my life in my early 20s in London, partying and working hard. And I guess my first big milestone adventure came when I was about 27, and I got bored one day and I said to my boss, I'd like to go somewhere else for 6 months. And he said, okay, you can choose either New York or Zurich in Switzerland. And I remember very clearly thinking at that time, New York, I can just go anytime. And everyone knows New York. But Zurich, Switzerland, I've not been there. I don't even know anyone there. I don't know the currency there. So hey, why not? Why not Switzerland? Sounds like fun. So off I went, and what was 6 months turned out to be 5 years. And from an auditor, I became a global project manager, running global projects all over the world, in Korea, Germany, New York, London, all over the place. I had a fancy convertible car. I learned a new language, German. I picked up one of the passions of my life, dancing, salsa, and I met my future husband, all in this 5 years in Switzerland. And unfortunately, towards the end of my 9.5 years career with the company that I was with, I got into a role where I started developing a very weird health symptoms, just like severe headaches. I thought I had brain cancer. I had vertigo, back pains, and all sorts of things. I was just really sick. I took it as a sign, and I therefore quit my 9.5 years job in Korea with the company and went to work at a restaurant. How it happened, I literally went to the restaurant down the road from where I live. It's a Malaysian and Thai restaurant. I know them quite well there, and told them I lost my job. And I said, you know, my dream was always to run a restaurant because I love food and I love people. So the owner actually said, hey, do you want to work here? So actually, that sounds like fun. Yeah, sure, why not? Mind you, I've never waitressed in my life, ever. So I didn't know how to even carry a plate and serve. But it really turned out to be one of the most humbling experience ever. I learned a new respect for people. I learned never to make assumptions about people's background, be him or her a waitress or waiter or a CEO. They all have their own life stories. It was just incredibly hard work, yet humbling, and I learned so much. And I was so grateful for that experience, that adventure. Then one day, one afternoon actually, I remember getting a phone call from my then fiance, and he was absolutely distraught and upset, and said that he has lost his job. And he was clearly really upset on the phone. And I remember thinking, fantastic, yeah, that sounds great, because this is our chance to go on another adventure. So I said, hey, you know what, I think this is a great opportunity for us to get married earlier. So we moved our wedding from 9 months down the road to 6 weeks down the road. Serious planning going on. And then we decided to go on a 6 months honeymoon all around Asia, and to settle in Asia, so Singapore or Hong Kong, after the end of our honeymoon. So at the end of our 6 months travel, we ended up choosing Singapore as our base, and we both found our jobs in the banking sector, and normal life resumed. Until one day, in the office, I got a phone call at my desk asking me to go and see HR, Human Resources. And I just knew what that meant. And that day, I got told I was being made redundant, along with the rest of all my team. And I had 10 minutes to pack my belongings, and I would be escorted out of the building, just like that. And I was 2 months pregnant at that time. So, unfazed, I thought, well, that's all right, I'll just go find a new job. But I could never have been more wrong. Unfortunately, in Singapore, there are no employment protection rules. So it was a real challenge and struggle for me to find a new job when I was pregnant, because I chose to disclose the fact that I was pregnant that early up front. And so I basically had to give up my hopes of finding a job, and wait till baby was out. Now, around the same time, I kept having a repeated vision and dream in my sleep. It was a very, very clear and distinct vision of red poppies against this red, yellow sunset sky. And my best friend in Australia convinced me to go and paint it. I've not picked up a paintbrush since high school. I had no idea what acrylic paint is. I had no clue. So I thought, okay, that sounds like fun, why not try it? So I did, and went to an art cafe and tried painting this vision. And this vision of the painting of the red poppies eventually became a series of 3 poppies. And that sort of ignited a little something in me. And then I thought, why not paint for our soon-to-be baby's room? Because we were struggling to find something that we liked anyway out there. So I started creating paintings, one of which is called Choo Choo. It's a train with animals on it for baby, and I created little animals to spell his name, and friends absolutely loved it, and they kept asking me if I would paint something for them. I said I'd think about it, and by then baby was out, and I decided to go back to work because I had a job offer to go back. And just one day before work, I was in so much pain. I had tears streaming down my eyes just from sitting down, and it turns out it was sciatica, and I found out that I had a very bad slip disc, and surgeons recommended I get a surgery straight away. I refused. I went for natural therapies. But unfortunately, work was crazy, and I really struggled the balance, the juggle between being a devoted mom, wife, and a career woman in the banking sector. So I handed in my resignation letter 6 months down the road and said, I'm not doing this anymore. And it was just as well, because I got really sick afterwards and nothing worked. I had to fly to Germany to a clinic for intensive rehab for my back. And I remember very clearly at that time, because I was in tears almost every day. I was in so much pain. I couldn't bend to brush my teeth in the mornings because my back was in so much agony. And I remember praying and saying to God, if you let me get through this, I will listen to you and I will follow your signs and change my life. And sorry, just thinking about that moment just makes me emotional, because it was a very dark time of my life, to be in so much pain and to not know how you can function as a human anymore was a very, very scary thought. And it really woke me up to not take my body for granted any longer. So I thank God I got better after 2 weeks of intensive rehab, and I decided this was it. I've got to give this whole artist thing a try, because that would give me the lifestyle that I need, a healthier lifestyle, a more balanced lifestyle, and the time that I can have with my children. And I got my first commission, and from one commission it went on to the next commission, and it just kind of went on from there. It started taking off. I was very, very lucky, and a couple of my paintings got picked up by people who were very interested, who really liked it, turned it into a massive 2 meter by 3 meter light box. I got into a couple of collaborations with people. Some of my art was used on a fashion show, and to this day I have a commission pipeline wait list of at least a year, actually almost 2 years waiting time. And I'm very, very lucky that my children art, because I paint mainly, I get commissioned to paint for children and families, and I'm very grateful that it took off. I also then turned my art into more of an art business. I made cushion covers and bags out of them. I made clocks, and they did quite well. So and lots of different prints as well. So I can't say how grateful I am for having made that decision that day to just go for it and give this art thing a go. So today I can proudly call myself a professional artist, and I have just launched a new series called my Sensual Art Collection, which is a series of paintings that is inspired by the feminine goddess in me and us, and the struggles and the challenges that we as women face in today's society. This series was actually launched by another dream and vision that I had about a year ago. And I decided by this time to just follow the signs that I get, and I did really, and I'm very lucky that that this new series, my Sensual Art Collection, has really taken off since then. The first piece that I did was sold right away after it was done. The second one created a little bit of a bidding war at an auction for charity recently, and my latest two paintings will be on exhibition at an international art fair called the Affordable Art Fair in Singapore in November, so it's coming up very soon. And this art fair attracts art collectors from all over Asia, so I am really excited, nervous. I almost need to pinch myself because I don't know how I got here. And I guess I got here by just saying yes to different things and just trying it and giving things a go. So today I am 4 months pregnant with our third child, and I ponder upon what lies ahead of us, because let's face it, raising 3 children, a husband and a household, that's a pretty full-time job. So I'm not sure if I can continue as a full-time artist for the time being or the near future, but I look forward to the new adventure, or whatever the future holds. So that pretty much about sums up my life so far in a little nutshell. I guess, you know, the moral of the story, or the takeaway of the story for me is, and I hope for you, is that we should live our life passionately and follow our hearts and the signs of the universe, and listen to, you know, what our body tells us to do, and just follow it, because I truly believe that anyone can do anything when they set their minds to it. And for example, I believe anyone can paint if they set their mind to it. I did not go to any art school or receive any formal art training when I started out to be an artist, and I just basically followed my heart and committed myself fully and 110% and passionately to what I'm doing now. And I guess, you know, when you do that, the results will follow. I hope that this story, or my story, has helped inspire you in some ways to live your life passionately and to say yes to your next adventure. Thank you so much for listening and watching my video. I am Mishell Leong, a live expressionist, self-taught artist, mother of 2.5, and wife of 1. See you and wish you all the best. Much love.